much to the chagrin of spice merchants and Quinky people, and basically anybody who has taken an introductory post-secondary course to how the human brain actually works. We are continuing to see the ever-exhausting anti-corn movement continue to try to validate overstepping very crucial boundaries, ethical boundaries in regards to people's agency and autonomy. You see, despite Quink and Quinky-related behavior being removed a very long time ago from the DSM-5 because research does not substantiate it as being inherently maladaptive behavior, it is typically the content that depicts pre-negotiated Quinky scenes in Spice that the anti-corn movement latches onto, because they are seeing people engage in higher risk behavior. And part of us exercising our own agency and autonomy is us deciding for ourselves what our own acceptable level of risk is. So, Quinky people and spice merchants will exercise their agency and autonomy by negotiating scenes that may involve or. However, we now have people in positions of governmental power in Great Britain attempting to push forward legislation that would ban any kind of content that depicts in corn, like specifically targeting Quinky content, apparently based on a study that was looking at potential correlations between women who have experienced and strokes. However, this research is more related to DV, and it does not actually target demographics like the Quink community or spice merchants. And despite that lack of demographic inclusion, because there is a profound difference between experiencing in this context versus a pre-negotiated scene, they've been trying to add it to that confirmation bias that seeing in content leads to people acting out what they see over here. It's the argument of this depicts against women, and people see it enacted out over here. Like people used to say it about video games. They'd be like, oh, video games depict this, and therefore people are going to act it out over here. And it's like, no matter how many hours I put into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I'm not going to just parkour, scale up a tall building, synchronize at the top, and then lob myself off into space to fall into a pile of hay down below. And like, it's frustrating for the people in the content because it's like, I'm not being wailed on with abandon. Spice merchants are not just NPCs that are recipients. They are whole autonomous people with their own voice and their own prefrontal cortex. So not only do we have ethical issues of stuff like this overstepping people's agency and autonomy to determine their acceptable level of risk, like for them, we also run into the issue that this type of stuff makes spice merchant society sin eaters. Because thanks to the bias that corn depicts against women and therefore increases DV in the home, all somebody has to do if they're doing behavior over here is to deflect it over here and claim that they were just innocently acting out something they'd seen, or this made them the way they are. Like, come on.